Alrighty, welcome to Romera Records podcast. Today we have on.
I'm Zachary McElwain. I'm one of the guitarists with Flirting with Sincerity, and yeah.
I'm Jake Savage. I play drums.
I'm Taylor Black, and I play bass.
And I'm John Wilkerson. I play the other guitar.
Awesome. And Flirting with Sincerity, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I had a band on a while back, and they all introduced themselves, and then they were like, by the way, our band name. Completely forgot to say that, but that is important. So, I've got linked up with y'all through, I think you saw Victoria on my podcast. So it's always good to have people on that saw somebody else. So that means I know at least one person out there is actually watching the podcast. So, let's get into pretty much how y'all became a band and what you're doing now. So, whoever the most talkative person.
I would say
He's got the history on deck right
Yeah,
here.
I would say we started. Basically, we formed in college. Like this is sort of an extension of the band that we had from, started back in high school, just from playing music around. And when we got to college, we kind of got to pick out our sound a little bit more and kind of decide okay, we want to be sort of a variety of things. It doesn't want to just be a sort of alternative rock or a specific window. And so what we try to do is kind of just extrapolate from our influences and what we like. So what we all like might be a little bit different, but we want to put that together and just kind of have a good time. Excuse me, and not really put a label on it. Kind of get it to where it's it just is what it is. You know, if it's a good beat, if it's a catchy riff, it carries on. It's good, but it's not dependent on we've got to make this one dark. It's not like that at all. It's just it's whatever you feel at the time kind of thing.
I actually was listening to a Bobby Osensi podcast, and he was talking about how genres are actually going away. And I thought it was kind of silly topic at first, and then I realized a lot of times when you have somebody and you're listening to them and you're trying to explain to somebody's like, well, what's the music like? And you're like, well, do you know so-and-so? You start comparing them to other people. You don't really give them a genre unless it's kind of obvious, like a rap, or you just say rock or something like that. But other than that, I mean, we've started to get so many genres and these subgenres that it's almost like there is no genre. You know what I mean? Just kind of like races. Everybody's having interracial sex, and now we're having babies of people who are mixed races, and now it's like, well, I'm just kind of a person.
But that's
now.
good though.
Yeah. It is a good thing.
I mean, especially
now,
the genres going away too, though, because that's I feel like that can be limiting.
Yeah.
For anybody. I mean, it's any kind of label can be very limiting, of course, but I think definitely the way to get around it is the actions speak louder than words. So you can be something that is the different, is the exception, I guess, to that expectation. And that's what's important. I guess that's your personal duty of an artist is to express your truth and express a side of reality people may not be open to, but then also express an individuality that you otherwise couldn't in your role of day-to-day life.
Yeah. I mean, music is something that branding is a big deal, but at the same time, you want to capture as many people as you can, right? You don't want to be well, if I'm a rock band, I only want people who like rock. Well, not necessarily. Yes, that's where you're going to get most of your benefit from is people who like rock, because that's the merch they're going to buy, the instruments that they probably like hearing and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you really want to get wherever you can. So being genre neutral is a good thing. So
Do you like rock music, old stuff, and what's your genre
So I was born in '92.
Okay.
And I grew up on Smashing Pumpkins, Creed. Let's see, who else was I really big into? It was just that era of music.
I was about to be please say Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit. There was so many bands that. That was the music back then, and that was pretty much what I listened to all the time. But nowadays. I can't really give you names of people Ryan, who owns Uproar Recording downstairs. He introduced me to Motionless and White. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah.
I really like them. He told me about them, and I was like, this is a great rock band. But like as far as modern day bands, I don't really know many. Like I still listen. Like if I'm going to listen to rock, I still listen to the bands I grew up on.
Do you consider Sonic Pulse a band?
I don't even know what Song the Pulse is.
That's Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. The what's it? Smoking Out the Window.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Smoking Out the Window.
So are you asking me, is it a band?
Yeah. Does it count as a band? Because it's kind of a super group. You know, you got Anderson .Paak, who is his own star. You got Bruno Mars, who is an unarguable like pinnacle of pop stardom.
Yeah.
But I think they're a band. I feel like the vibe of them is like a band, even though they're like kind of their own pop things. There's a collaboration involved that's kind of like gives it an edge, you know. So
I guess the question is,
they're a modern band.
what do you like what is a band? Because so I don't know if y'all listen to Skrillex, but one of Skrillex's old albums, he takes in a sample of somebody talking. And while the person's talking, they're just describing, like they sound really monotone, and they're just like, I could see in the future one person on stage just using electronic sounds.
David Bowie.
Oh, is it David Bowie?
I think it's David Bowie.
I think that's right.
So
I
he
think
took
that's the
that.
David Bowie sample, yeah.
He's taking that
Yeah,
sample,
maybe.
and I'm just like, well, yeah. I mean, that's what we have now. It's just DJs on stage, just playing some music, and you can use samples, and boom, there you go. That's what we have now, and as you said, modern day band. That's a whole band.
That might be the most definition we get out of it.
Yeah,
is multiple
so-
artists
I feel like
playing
a
the
band
same
is
song.
like a vibe. It's like like if you get that vibe,
Because I mean, really, any two people can make a band. Are you a one person band?
Duos are my favorite types of bands. I
Yeah.
think duos are kind of where it's at. No offense, boys.
We've been thinking about
Black
actually turning into a duo.
You can make two duos.
We just haven't really figured out how to
Divide
do it
and
with four
conquer.
people yet.
That way we only need one other band to book a full show. Yeah.
Leaves you
It's going to be
flexible.
great, guys.
2 out of 20.
Start a feud between them.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean the definition of band, I think, has definitely changed with the way technology has evolved. I mean, as you said, is Bruno and Anderson .Paak is that a band? Sure.
I love Sonic Pulse. When I was working at
that
FedEx,
sounds awesome.
I worked at FedEx for 2 years, from 2020 to 2022, and I would just constantly they would have this speaker, this lady who worked on the ramp. She'd bring out this speaker whenever we were inside pulling off the slides. She would play just.
Make sure you get
that
close to the
album-
mic.
Oh yeah. So 2 years ago, when I worked at FedEx, there was this lady with this boombox, and basically she played that album when it came out nonstop, and it was just it was a good vibe because one, I hated working at FedEx, but two, it was so fun. It feels like you're cleaning your house or doing some dishes and just vibing to just your cleaning house
Yeah,
music. It's a little brighter. It's the end of the movie. Everybody's all right kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I love that album. I love that duo. I love everything Anderson .Paak does, everything Bruno Mars does, and so that group was just yes.
Yeah. I mean, they really brought funk. I'm not gonna say back, but they brought it to the forefront.
They definitely brought it forward again. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I was hoping for that. What did Bruno do? What did he do in that when he did a funk song when everybody was was it just Uptown Funk? Was that his first kind of?
I mean, yeah,
I
I'd
think so,
say
That was his
Uptown
first funk step.
24 Karat. That was kind of a funk song. Just his style of music is for everybody, and that is something that I don't think a lot of musicians think about when they're making music. I deal with a lot of rappers, so especially them. You have to, if you want to be on that level of where Bruno and all of them are, their music speaks to everybody, whether you're a baby or you're 90. You can listen to their music. So if you want to reach that kind of audience and make that kind of money where everybody's buying your album, you have to make that kind of music, and that's what Bruno does. He's a genius when it comes to doing music as far as marketing wise, because he's going to be on everything. You can't get around without listening to Bruno.
I love Bruno.
Yeah, I mean, so we say that and you have to have that mentality if you want to make that type of money, but there's nothing wrong with not wanting to do that in any way whatsoever, though, right? Honestly, I have a lot of respect for the people who are this is my niche. This is what I do. I sound like this. If you don't like me, fuck you. Like, you know, that kind of thing
Like,
going
that's
on.
okay,
Like,
too. That's
yeah,
not what
like
we want to
it's-
do, but that's okay. Like, you can,
You know, it's just, I don't know. Like, me personally, I just have never, I've made a lot of, like, different types of music, you know, and never once have I, like, wanted to fold towards the wanting to appeal to, like, more people. It also explains why I'm not a millionaire musician. It's like, oh yeah, that's why I live in like an apartment. But you know, you make the sacrifices you make. You know,
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just like it's just I lean towards like those like we were talking about all those like weird. We were talking about like all those like weird genres and everything.
move
I
your
know,
mic.
bro. I know. I'm sorry. I keep leaning
like
over
this.
Taylor over here.
Sorry,
but
I just gave a Fanta.
yeah, yeah. So it's like what was I even saying? I'm sorry.
Just not getting into
Yeah,
like
so like there's all these like specific genres and everything now, and like there are some weird ones out there now. You know, like they like even when I explain, people are like, "What does your band sound like?" The only thing I can say is rock now, because we do so many different niche things already with like on a song by song basis that it makes it hard to identify exactly what we do. But it's like there's like a genre called witch house out there. Have y'all ever heard of that?
No.
So witch house is this like underground electronic music from Russia, and they just try to make it sound scary. Yeah, they just like sample like horror movies and stuff and just try to make it scary, and like it just looks
It
like
works.
witches would make it, and that's why they
Pretty
call it
scary.
that. Yeah.
It's like kind of like heavy. It's not like screaming, but it's like kind of like
Yeah, it's like bzzz,
Yeah.
boom, boom, like
It's
you know
like
that kind.
laser
Yeah,
heavy.
yeah, exactly. Like so, it's like I lean as like me consuming music. I lean more towards the super niche like weirdos of the industry.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess you know the people
Yeah.
who are like, yeah, like I've been doing this for 10 years and like I'm homeless. Like yeah,
yeah, I mean there's multiple ways to skin the cat, right? Like you can pick whatever you want to do. Like there's no that's the best part and the worst part about the music business is there's no rule book. You just do what you want to do. And if you become that millionaire, great. And if you don't, then oh well. You chose to do what you wanted to do. And that's, as I said, that's the pros and cons of the music business. Like there's no like, well, you step 1, do this, step 2, do this, and then you'll be on your way to being successful. It's like, no, just all right, this is the music business, figure it out. So some people have figured it out, some people just haven't. But
I
it
think
just takes time.
I think it's so case by case for whatever niche that person's trying to go for too. Like the guy who wants one niche is like, you can absolutely do it. You just have to stand in the right place and do it in front of the right people. And I think actually with the whole genre blending thing that's happening, that gets way complicated. I don't know who I'm supposed to market to, and I don't know how to reach them.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to reach them, and them all at the same time.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
No,
I don't have a solution to this problem that came up.
No,
Nobody
I
does.
totally
Play it
like
loud.
no exactly what John is saying right now. Like 100%. Like at least with our music, it's like we'll play a set and then get off stage, and it's like we have like teenage kids coming up to us being like, "That was awesome," and then I have like a 70-year-old man be like, "That was great. You guys are gonna do great things." I'm like, who? Like, who do we mark? Like, what do we do here? You know, like where is the area that we're supposed to like?
And then it's like, well, apparently we did it right because we had all these people. So.
It
Yeah.
always does feel a little weird though, because if you do try to like, oh my bad, I remembered. It's gonna be a bit. It's always a bit hard, I think, with any project, album, or whatever you do to go. It's an unnatural process to say like, all right, boys, this is our group we're going for. This is like the angle. Like no more of this. We got to look at it like that. You know. It's always a bit like weird to look at it that way. So like I think that's why our philosophy is a bit more loose and based around like the content creation and then building the world and the story around it, is because it's like then your justification is around the soul of the project and you're not justifying anything. You're kind of like everything's based around that kind of center point, I guess.
Yeah.
So like it's a song by song basis. Like so you write one happy song and then the next one might be like, but that's what happens if you don't. You know, like, you know, it's like you can carry on with it. You can like kind of tell a little story and then they got lost and that kind of thing. So like, yeah.
So what do
I
y'all
lost my rant, but you know. Yeah.
So what are y'all
It's a
doing
phantom.
right now? Are we doing singles? We doing albums? You doing both?
Bit of everything.
Okay.
We've got one single coming out in 6 days on the 26th. and that's gonna be John's song. That one's called "Going Away."
Okay.
And we actually have an artist that we work with. Her name is Bright Wizard on Instagram. If y'all want to check her out, she's amazing. But she's actually making our artwork for like our merchandise for the previous single and this one. But we'll be releasing like some T-shirts with like her prints and like her art on it. She has like her signature with it and everything. But we've got that coming out this week, and then we'll have an EP that's coming out in the fall. And right now we're really just bunkering down and like recording because we're gonna have a few more singles, another EP, and an album all coming out. We're trying to like just mass produce like a lot of songs right now. So basically, in the fall we'll start. We're actually doing that right now. We're like shopping venues to figure out where we want to book in the fall. It's probably gonna be like late in November. But basically that'll just be around the EP release, which we don't have a date for yet, but we know it's gonna be late November. Early December. That's kind of like what we're looking at right now.
Okay.
But yeah, John's single's gonna front that one out, and then we're gonna come out with the EP and everything with that.
Is the single on the EP?
Yes,
That's going to be on the EP.
Yeah, I've seen some people not use. They'll use a single to promote an album, but then it actually isn't a part of the album. And I've then seen people. That's the first song on the album.
And if
is
it's
that single? So
If it's very single heavy, like their marketing, that's actually makes some sense to me, actually, because a big thing I've been afraid of, like this is going to be the second single that's on this EP. I'm very worried about starting a habit of releasing 3 singles. Oh, an EP's out, 5 songs, 3 of them we've already heard. But
so have y'all done an LP? Like, have you had 12, 18 songs?
That's
We
sort
got
of
one
what
in the
it's
works.
going to like become. So like the
Okay.
reason we're doing it this way is it'd be like to the 2 singles that we released would be very like contrasting singles. So it's basically meant to be like the sort of 2 wide ends of like what you'd be looking at, and then you would get the EP and you'd get this sort of more complete story. And then we'd have, another single come out and then another EP. And then we're going to make those part of like the larger part, which is the full album. So we will have a double album in about a year and a half that we're working on. But this is sort of just the like little like steps up to that. And so it's going to start with the singles and then it all becomes part of that, But I kind of wanted it to be like a flip over where it's like, oh, that's more context. Oh, wait, that's the back part of it. Okay, got it. Kind of thing. But
we're also home recording, so we didn't want to spend 10 years on a double album.
that helps.
Yeah, and just so y'all know, Zach and John here are like certified, educated recording engineers,
Very
so it
educated.
sounds good. All right, they got degrees in this shit. Okay.
Well, at least he doesn't.
I do, and Ryan does. But
No, I'll come
Most
in
of
with like
one.
my home recording experience, like working on stuff, and I'll be like, "This is what's going to sound good." And they're like, "No." I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, "That does not sound good." I'm like,
We're going to put this right on the fridge.
So what is your experience with recording? Like, how long you been doing that?
Well, I went to U of M for recording technology, so I just did all that through there. I didn't really do much with it after, besides like apply it to the band and stuff. But yeah,
So why'd you go?
I just love music. I wanted to go to college for music. I didn't make the cut for performance. I was going to go for saxophone performance, but I just didn't make the cut.
Okay.
And then I moved to sound engineering, so I was like, this stuff is cool. This is like the black magic of how music is formed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got into it, but yeah. And yeah.
I'll go.
So I decided to do music business, and this is kind of funny, but 18-year-old me looked at the math requirements and said, oh my God, recording technology requires calculus, and I don't want to do calculus again. It sucked. So I did music business, which requires statistics, and I've like barely tried and passed. But like when starting at like 13 or 14, my dad started getting into just like buying music equipment, hosting bands. He started actually just like for church events and stuff, doing the mixer board on like their, I don't know what you call it, like the Oktoberfest type events they always had. And so I never got a formal education in how to do live or recorded music, but just like 10 years of experience up until that point.
Okay.
So basically touching the stove when it's hot and going, oh, I probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah. I would say it's very crucial, like, especially if you have a band, like, it's crucial that all of you have some understanding of, like, what's going on. Like, from start to finish, the setup, the DAW that you're using, how you're recording. Like,
They're all
you should
really
have
about
just
that.
a little bit of knowledge about everything because that helps out tremendously.
I would say, like, for sure, like, all jokes aside, like, when it comes to, like, recording, that's the part, like, I think, all, like, take a deep pride in. We basically, like, we all did go to school for music and stuff. I didn't finish. He didn't finish. He's our degree boy. Yeah. But,
Sorry, John. I thought you finished. My bad.
I'd like to apologize.
I was like, John totally finished. My bad.
Here at the Bureau, we'd like to
thought
say
you walked, dog.
our bad.
Now I step right up to the line and then step back one.
But yeah, like, I think, like, the thing is we picked up little bits and pieces, and the same way, like, you know, when I reached a certain point in college where I was like, I honestly don't want to end up at a certain point of debt. Let's be realistic. If I have a music degree, I'm not paying this off efficiently, not doing anything I enjoy. So the thing to do, if I want to get better at music and I want to have the time to excel at that or get to be a better songwriter or anything, is to honestly take the hit, start making money, try to pay that debt off, and meanwhile try to, you know, actually build up my sort of, I guess, momentum. Like, mostly as a songwriter, songwriting was really important to me. And I realized, like, working 9 to 5 or doing this or that, it's going to be very hard to do songs. Like, you can do it, absolutely, but it's a huge sacrifice, and everybody that's doing it knows that. So, like, it's just a lot. I mean, I'm still doing that now. I'm totally, like, working a 9 to 5 and doing songwriting, but it took a long time to kind of master that, like, master your own energy and your own time, and just knowing, like, yeah, I'm not going to do it on Tuesdays. That's going to be a Wednesday, bro. That's going to be a Wednesday. But, you know, we do what we can. We make it work, and it's getting better. But the thing is I think we all have different, like, levels of what we like to go into music-wise. Like, me and John are the music theory nerds. Like, we're super into theory. Thor is incredible at improv. That's his nickname, by the way. We call him Thor.
I was like, pause.
But yeah, basically he's the shredder. He can, like, just come up with something, like, on the spot and just improv basically like a jazz legend over everything. So, like,
The chops guy.
yeah, it's chops, and then, like, he'll put jazz in, like, a rock riff or something, and, like, it's crazy. Like, it's cool stuff. But we've all got, like, different, like, I think, angles and, like, talents. The cool thing is kind of just when you kind of, like, lock in, it's just, you know, like, that kind of, like, it feels very, like, trancy when you, like, actually lock in with, like, a bunch of different people and y'all just, like, you know what I'm saying? That's a cool feeling.
Who's the lyricist in the group? Like,
That would be Jake.
Looking at this
I write some of the lyrics. I think a lot of the songs just started off as, like, some songs I was playing around with. So, like, I kind of got the lyrics right now, but we all help out on lyrics. Jake's got a whole, like, song or two. You got 3 or 4 now. Yeah, that we're working on for the album that are gonna have, like, it's all his lyrics. I didn't touch it. That was all Jake. And then John's got a few as well that are basically entirely his. I mean, we'll help each other out, but, like, you know, I'll even go to them if I'm like, yo, like, I don't like this. What is this? Like, you know, if it's a very obvious rhyme, like, or something that just doesn't quite hit, you know, it's good to have somebody to check with. But yeah.
I just want to go on record here saying Taylor is very jealous of my lyrical ability. I want that to be on record. All right.
It's not true.
Hey,
Nothing
can you
more to
scrub
say.
the last 5 minutes?
So for the lyrics, like, I always, with bands, I'm always curious because I work with many bands. But so, like, in rap, you find a beat and you listen to it, you write lyrics, you go record it, you're done. How are you doing it with your lyrics? Are you just like, oh, I've got a tune in my head, I'm gonna just write these lyrics and we'll figure out the music later? Or do you already have, like, how does that work?
So for me personally, the way I approach writing lyrics and stuff is I have a much more minimalist style of songwriting than I would say every single other person in the band. Like, I just find one riff and just play it over and over and over and over again, and I just kind of, like, off the dome, like, freestyle, like consciousness, just say stuff, you know. But in my mind, I'm trying to capture, like, a moment or in time, or, like, a certain way I was feeling at a certain time, or, like, I'll even go as far as, like, making up a person who doesn't exist that's in this, like, real fucked up situation. Yeah. I'm like, how would they feel? And then, like, I'm just kind of, like, free associating things, and I'll write all that down, and I'll read it line by line, And the ones that are good, I'll like put a check mark by it. And then like I'll kind of just, editing. It's all about editing, like just take that out, take that out, take that out, take that out. And then by the time I'm done.
So you always write by hand?
A lot of the time voice memos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I'll just I'll be just like set the my phone or a microphone down or whatever next to me with a guitar. I like writing on this. My dad makes guitars, and he made this little piece of shit cigar box guitar, and it's 3 strings, but it's just so pathetic sounding that it even makes the lyrics even better.
How dare you say that about your dad?
Hey, hey, Dad, I love you. Your guitars are good, but that cigar box sounds like a piece of shit.
And that's why he loves it.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's electric. You can plug it into an amp. It's gnarly sounding. But that's how I do it. They have a much more like formal, like educated approach to doing it. I'm a little rough around the edges, I guess.
We just put glasses on. That's
all. Is that it?
To brag on that.
But that's how I personally do it. So, like, what about you? Like,
I'll let you go.
Okay. To brag on how Jake does it too as well, something he can pull out that we don't usually run into unless we intentionally go for it, that little stream of consciousness style where you're actually just speaking, your lyrics are in voice memos, they're not written. Mm-hmm. You can't tell when one line ends and the other begins. They flow into each other. It's an almost accidental Bob Ross kind of complexity that works in. But it creates beautiful things out of that.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I guess the way I do it is essentially I'll write the entire musical piece beforehand and just the whole time be thinking, okay, there's another instrument that I have to be thinking about while I'm writing the guitar and bass stuff. And so it's like that melody line has to do something that is not locked onto the guitar riff.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'll just think, okay, where does the melody need to go? I'll actually go make MIDI notes on like some janky random keyboard MIDI thing that I pull up. And it sounds like garbage. They can attest until I put words over it. But what's cool is when I get the melodies, I can kind of hear, okay, this phonetically needs an E sound or a sound on that note. And that's where I start to like think of, okay, well, it needs a word. And then you can actually make concepts out of that when you kind of pick like strong point words that need to be there.
That's interesting. I've literally never heard that before.
Really?
Also, what he's talking about when he says like we'll attest that it sounds bad, it's mostly like MIDI notes. So it's like it's like a music
Tones
box.
of it,
like every tone is like the same. So it's like very just it's like very just
It's like you got these great
it's
guitar
structured. It's
riffs
very
and then
structured.
video game music above it.
John,
no bones.
some of the presets you decide to use for those MIDI songs you show us though are hilarious. Like
I
it's like
intentionally
it's
make
like
them
some Casio keyboard late '90s like ding dong ding dong dong da, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like
Half of it's me enjoying making y'all laugh about it, and then turning on, hey, I've recorded the vocals too. Look at how different this sounds.
yeah, but like then you actually like sit down and take the time to translate that MIDI stuff to your guitar and like to a bass line. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, this makes like a lot more sense now musically. This sounds incredible. Oh my God. Like everyone else in this band but me is like really good at music theory. So anytime they do any of this stuff with MIDI and they translate it to an actual instrument, it blows my mind. That's why I play drums. Yeah. So I don't have to read sheet music ever.
Jake also will retune our guitarist to his own tuning and write all of his songs that way. So don't let this man fool you.
Oh my God.
He likes to wear his humble little hat, but he's a liar too.
So when you're putting a song together, what do you like first? Do you like to already have a concept together, or do you like to just get together and create something? Like, what's your favorite parts?
I like when we figure out the vibe. Like I kind of like for me the way I write a song is like I kind of just when you were talking about like lyrics earlier, like I actually don't try to base my lyrics around melody at first. I'll try to kind of like base it around a rhythm. So if it's like a steady kind of rhythm, like what's that one song where it's like in the heat of the desert sun on the blistering trail, and it's just got this kind of like, okay, now I'm like in the desert, like riding under the like sun, you know what I mean? And it creates a vibe, but because you've got the rhythm that creates the repetition and then the lyrics that sort of create the environment, and then the melody is really just accentuating that environment, or like at least the way you want to portray that environment and your attitude within it. So like I feel like it's strange. I used to definitely do the melody thing, like, oh, I remember. But it has something kind of like, I guess, melody-based with the lyrics, right? But it's so much easier to base it off the rhythm because I think that's so much more tapped into what you're doing, like what you're actually trying to get at. But for me as a band, like or my role in the band as the bass player, I like when me and him lock in like bass and drums, and then it's just kind of like, okay, that's the vibe, and then he's like, and it's just kind of it comes together because you've got a sort of root around it in the rhythm. I feel like I've evolved into a very rhythm based like religion.
Okay. Fair enough.
The rhythm religion.
I like the use
We
of
go to the
religion.
altar of the
I think there's rhythm people, there's melody people, there's both people, but we'll argue. Like that's like I think my mom's very lyrically based, and then my dad doesn't care about lyrics at all. He just wants a good vibe. Like he just wants to party. But then my mom's like, I don't want to like hear about your ice cream sundae, bro. Like I want to like give me something. Like everybody's different. But
Yeah. Shoot, what was I going to ask you? Oh, how are you doing your mixing? Are y'all mixing or?
we actually. Oh, you go ahead. No, you.
Yeah. We have a friend. He's the one I went to school with, Ryan. We both graduated, but he's the one who's doing the mixing for all of our stuff. Yeah. And he actually used to be the rhythm guitarist of the band, but he wanted to leave because he wanted to focus more on doing electric music and stuff. Yeah. And that's what he's doing. Yeah.
So are you sending him stem? Like you said, y'all recording yourselves, right?
Yeah.
So do you send him the stems and then he just mixes it and sends it back?
It'll depend on where we record. So, like, when we record, we'll go places. We kind of travel, like, just wherever to record. I know, like, sometimes we'll go out to this cabin in Mississippi, and we'll just, like, record out there, and then just do, like, drums, because they got, like, tall ceilings and stuff, and just, we'll get the sound we like there. Sometimes it's good to get guitar, and then we might get the vocals, back home or something, but it's like we'll find the environment we like. I know, like, my parents' old house before they moved to Atlanta, we went over there and like recorded in their bedroom because they just had these thick curtains and this like bedspread and all this. It was very like a padded like just
very dead sound.
Yeah, like it just closed in. So we were like, that's a good tone, like if you want that.
And it has like this cabin. We say it's a cabin. It has like 30-foot ceilings or something. Like the ceilings
Probably
in it
is
are
about 30 feet.
ridiculous. So I mean, like recording
Perfect for
drums in that
drums.
thing is nuts. And also on the cabin, shout out to Walnut, Mississippi. It is
I
a
don't think
beautiful
it's
little
Walnut.
town. It is Walnut,
I think
Mississippi.
it's Corinth.
It's Walnut. It's Walnut.
It's
Yes, I knew it. But shout out to Walnut, Mississippi. Your town is beautiful, but everyone there sucks. All right.
But their truck stops have great breakfast sandwiches.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, we need a lot of those.
We can
breakfast
attest to
sandwiches,
that.
man.
Yes.
There's like nothing there though. It is like you go out and it's like
It is wilderness.
you'll be driving for
That's
about
it.
45 minutes into like open fields and like it's it's hard to like I know whenever we've like been out there for about 4 hours or more someone's like, man, I'm really hungry, and it's like
There's the gas station
Like,
and
you
Subway.
can't
and then,
it's so
fend for
far out
yourself.
you can't Uber Eats, you can't like do anything desperate to just get food
Yeah.
like
Go kill a
convenient.
deer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's your
Let's go
best
catch
bet.
a squirrel.
But it's got great sounds if you're recording drums, man. It's great.
That's dope. I mean, I haven't seen any places like that are like around this area. So, I mean, when you can find those places, it's pretty cool. Just stick with that because your sound. Like a lot of great engineers, they like certain rooms because they like that sound they get out of that room.
Yeah.
Notorious is Abbey Road Studio 3 and like Capitol Chambers has the famous like reverb from that, and there's a couple other ones that they're just known for the sound that you can get out of those rooms. Like people will record specifically there. Like I heard Bruno when he came here to record Uptown Funk, he specifically loved the sound of Royal Studios, and that's why he came here to record Uptown Funk, is because he wanted that sound.
That's right. He
specifically.
recorded that here with Boo Mitchell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he recorded that entire album here at Royal Studios.
I heard that like recently, and I did not realize that.
Yeah.
And like I'm a Bruno fan. I know you already know that, but like I found that out actually within this month.
Oh, really?
I had no idea you recorded it here, and I was like, dude, like.
And in their last album that they just did, the Anderson .Paak Bruno, the horns that they use there's a famous horns group here in Memphis. They did all the horns. What's his name? Boo Mitchell recorded the horns, at Royal Studios. So,
That is so cool.
yeah. But there's it's like a famous group that they did all the old music as well that Memphis is known for. Like this, I think it's like the horn section of Memphis or whatever. They have like a name to it. They're just notorious.
Have you ever heard of Lucky Seven Brass Band?
Yes, I actually had on Victor Sawyer.
I
him on
love
this
Victor.
podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, no, those guys are great. Like they put on a great show. We saw them at where was it?
Where
That
were
one
we
spot
last
they played
seeing?
forever.
The Bluff? No.
No. When the was
Rail
it Rail Garden?
wasn't it? Yeah, Rail
Rail
Garden.
Garden,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
They were playing there, and they like got out. I don't remember which song it was, man, but they like got out and they're like playing the trombones, like getting into people's like.
Yeah, they were like
space and
standing on the tables and stuff.
And,
It
dude,
super
everybody was
rock star.
just
Yeah.
like they opened up to it, and they're like, yes, they are the most rock band. They're the only brass band, but they're the most rock band brass band, and they're super cool.
And brass band.
They're more rock
They're a
and
band.
roll.
They're a band.
I didn't see this shit.
You missed it. He was in the bathroom. They did a whole set, and it was so fast and high energy. You just missed it.
They played at what's it called? Bar DKDC or something.
Yeah,
that's cool.
They played there.
I like that place,
And
yeah.
like at the end of their set, they just like went outside and just started playing in the streets and like played When the Saints Go
They
Marching
do that.
In.
They'll do cool stuff like they did
Yeah.
When the Saints Go Marching In.
They did When the Saints Go, and as they were finishing, they were marching back into the bar, and it was like, this is the sickest thing I've ever seen.
They put a lot of
Nice.
time into their performance,
Yeah.
and it shows, and it's so good. So shout out to Lucky Seven Brass Band.
Yeah.
Shout out to anyone who plays in a second line band. That stuff's awesome
Yeah,
when
it's
you're
really
marching
hard.
through marching through the streets and stuff. Like I love that shit. I was in one very briefly, and it is the most difficult thing I've ever done musically. No offense, guys.
I do believe that.
like doing like the snare, like they have the snare right here with the bass drum strapped to your chest, and then you have like the thing, like the hi hat is a little like thing attached to your finger.
Are you serious?
Right here, so you're like, yeah, it's just hard as
Dang.
fuck, dude.
You gotta
Yeah,
go
like,
in step
dude,
two.
and they're like the dudes doing that in New Orleans are like 1,000,000 years old.
That's the secret. You just do that.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool. Yeah,
That's
it was
wild.
fun.
Yeah, I think I actually had on, y'all know Louise Page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I had her on, and then Victor and who else? Somebody. Oh, actually, I had on Elizabeth Craig after Louise.
She
and
plays
then-
violin with Louise, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And then Victor used to be in their band, and then he made Lucky Seven Brass Band, I believe. I'm getting the story right. And then I had him on my podcast, so I've had like all them on. But yeah, great Memphis groups around here for sure. I'm actually interested on like the venues that y'all play at. Where do y'all go?
Well, I would say like we used to play more. Like we sort of switched gears with COVID. So like before all of that, we were very much a gigging band. Like we liked,
Show every 2
like
weeks
we
and
would
stuff.
show up at your house and we would have a smoke machine. We would have we
Laser light blinking
like to
thing,
like
hang up.
we like to do that. That was
now we're
fun.
mobile recording. We used to be mobile live setup.
Yeah, like we used
pretty
to
much.
we used to really put on, and I know that we're like revving up for that, but what we really want to do is make sure that we have a large cache of good music and just like, you know, a wide selection of stuff, I guess, to last us in the future. That way we can kind of keep that, you know, dripping in, and then at the same time doing these shows and everything. But the main goal is to get back to doing that. When we were playing, though, to answer your question, it would be High Tone. We did a show at the new High Tone, actually, since they moved, because they moved right at the start of COVID from their old location.
I did not know that.
Dude, their new,
Wait a minute, so
their
High-
new building's so
High
cool.
Tone's the one
Yeah.
that's like is upstairs in the building, right?
That's the
Yeah,
new one,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the new
So where's the
yeah.
old one?
The old one
like
was
down
it
the
was
street.
it was so
like
imagine the
1
same
minute down the
setup,
street.
right?
Okay.
Except instead of the upstairs being the sick part, it was like sideways. So when you'd go in, you got your bar, that's normal, right? You go back and that's the small room. That's all the same, except instead of an upstairs, you would go this way. And there'd be kind of a bigger room, and you'd have like a football stadium fold-out chairs, and there was another bar separate from that. The bathrooms were back there. And they had like a main stage with like high tone and like a snare drum with like the O or whatever. I don't remember what the setup was, but it was something like that. And or I think it was spelled out with snare heads. But anyway, their new location is that upstairs one. You've been to that one?
Yeah, I've been to that one.
Dude, that's the one we just played, and it is so fun. I love it. 'Cause
Do you
they've
like
got
it
that-
better than the old one?
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! They've got a big
Oh, yeah.
window. They've got a massive window like
Yeah,
that
it's-
wraps
it's cool.
around. You've got
Yeah.
an old what is that game they have in there?
Oh,
not
it's like a
pinball,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle
yeah,
arcade
like Teenage
thing.
Mutant Ninja
Yeah,
Turtles.
it's
You
fun.
got a coffee table and like just all this hodgepodge furniture, like a green and orange chair. It's a vibe, man. I love that stuff.
Also, it's still the perfect amount of dirty.
Yeah, but they don't.
I don't like venues
but they
that
don't.
are crisp. Like
It's super dark
crisp,
still. It's very high tone. But
like
there is no smoking, so they don't have smoking in there anymore. So it has like a lot cleaner vibe in that way. Like I didn't like that, but that's just me.
You can't smoke in there anymore.
It's a new rule, so make sure you don't smoke.
Yeah, I'm not from here, by the way. I'm from Alabama, so that's
Okay.
anytime. Like that's the cool thing about having all Memphis people on my podcast is y'all are teaching me stuff. Like as I'm going, like I had one guy on telling me about. I love talking about food. And this one dude was talking about like all the barbecue places. He's telling me about Big Bills. Do y'all know what that is?
Yes.
I have not.
So you know, right?
I do.
Big Bills barbecue.
You're a Big Bills guy?
He was saying it was good.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm not going to be that guy.
Hold on.
A restaurant
Which-
podcast right now.
Which Big Bills?
Wait, well-
Because he said they're different. He's like,
Yeah,
they
there's
just
a different
made.
location.
He said they just made one. Well, I mean, I had this podcast like a year ago, but he said they just got a location. I forgot where it was,
Like
but
East Memphis, like off of
it was.
385.
I think it was like in a nice area, and he was like, "That's a new one." He was. I think he said that wasn't a good one. He's like, "You
Okay,
gotta go to the
I've
southern
only eaten
one."
at the trash one then.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, that must be it. Because barbecue places are weird like that. Like there'll be a place with different locations, and each one is going to totally give you a different quality of barbecue.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah,
I
don't
had-
eat at the new one.
I had this issue.
Find
with,
the old one, go there.
I had this issue with Dixie Queen. So obviously I'm not from here, so I didn't know what
very.
Dixie Queen was. And then everybody's talking about, oh, you got to go to Dixie Queen. I'm like, all right. I checked out Dixie Queen. I was like, this is not that good. But I live in Cordova, so I went to the one in Cordova. And then like somebody I know posted that they're like, man, I went to the Dixie Queen in Cordova. It was trash. And I was like, okay, this dude always talks about how great Dixie Queen is. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I went to that one and it wasn't that good. He was like, oh, yeah, it's a horrible. He had to go to the one in the hood. That one's the better one. I was like, oh, okay. I had no idea the hood one was the better one. He was like, yeah, if that menu don't look crazy, then it's not a good one.
You got to know your way around.
I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, I guess it's, just certain places and certain locations just got different food. So
When did you come to Memphis?
2019.
2019. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your like favorite part about it so far? What's your kind of take? We won't tell anybody.
So my what do you call it? My whatever opinion. Basically, I will say that I'm kind of disappointed in the barbecue.
Okay.
I don't think it's as good as advertised.
It could be better.
I'm
The
from Little
be-
Rock and said
the-
the same thing.
The best barbecue I've had from here has been from people I know. Like they've just cooked
I will
barbecue.
vouch for that.
Dude,
That's
yeah.
been the best
Yeah.
barbecue I've
Yeah,
had.
like
I can see that.
the best barbecue spot in Memphis is just this old dude on the corner at the no, he sets up his smoker at like 4 a.m. All right, and he just sells meat until he sells out, and it's at the corner of Park and shit. It's like between Getwell and Highland. There's like he just sets up his trailer on this random
Yeah.
corner.
You're
okay?
gonna- you're gonna
you
have
know
to
what I'm talking about.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but I know
But-
where that is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
the vibe.
It is the
Yeah.
best
I get the vibe.
barbecue.
I get the vibe. I
Like
feel
he
the
sets up like a little tailgating tent. He has a smoker out there, and I've gotten his barbecue like twice because I've gone as early as 8 a.m. and this dude's already sold out. Right? Like, bro, yeah, dude.
Barbecue
like,
breakfast.
I wanted
Who wants a
barbecue at 8
barbecue at
a.m.
4
so I
in the
went to
morning?
him. Okay, and it was incredible. It was delicious, and I hope he's still doing it. I
See,
haven't seen
nobody
him.
has ever mentioned this on any of my
Oh,
podcasts.
dude!
I talk about food
I don't know
all
his
the
name.
time.
Like, there's no sign, nothing. It's just a dude smoking meat on a corner, dude. Like,
We just did everyone a disservice.
it's between Getwell and Highland.
We should take a field trip at 5
There you go.
a.m.
All right, yeah, I'm down.
We don't
Yeah.
want it to sell out.
Right? Yeah.
After
Yeah,
this
bro,
podcast,
like,
he
it's-
just sells out in 5
Gotta
minutes.
get the best barbecue.
It is so bomb. Like it puts all like rendezvous and shit, like all those places, man. Like yeah, it's so good.
So I've had like
I
all
totally
the
agree with
commercial.
what you're saying.
Yeah, I've had all the. I guess not all the. So I think I've had Corky's. I've had Rendezvous. I mean, they're okay. I would say that my favorite so far has been the barbecue shop. Have you had that?
No, I haven't had that.
That's probably been my favorites. The barbecue shop. But
Wait, is that the
yeah.
place off Summer?
I'm horrible with areas,
Oh, damn.
honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where that is because like I'm familiar with the name, but I've never had it. Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably been my favorite. But yeah, that's as far as opinion. Like the areas, the areas are kind of weird to me because, as I said, I live in Cordova, and that seems like it's got most of the stuff that I need is Cordova. So I'm like, why would I need to go downtown? Now downtown has all the bars and stuff like that. Like Cordova doesn't have like a nightlife. So if you need nightlife, you go downtown to Memphis. So that is one thing that Memphis does have. But honestly, like I did expect more nightlife. Maybe I'm not getting out as much as I should. I don't get out much, but when I do, it's like to see an artist that I know. You know, they're performing at like a high tone or growlers or something like that. But yeah, I don't know.
It also seems like there's kind of two Memphises at night, if that makes sense. There's Madison and then there's Beale.
Yeah.
And they are
Okay.
two very opposing
Oh yeah,
sides.
yeah. Nightlife on Madison's weird. I like
Where's
it.
Madison?
Madison's. It's like
Give me
Midtown.
buildings.
Yeah,
Malco Theater. The big old. Oh, okay.
like Overton Square. It's like
Okay.
There's like the studio on the square.
Okay.
We
There's
got a new hotel,
yeah. There's a big ass hotel
the
there.
Memphian.
Man,
I think that's what it's called.
what is it?
Crosstown Concourse is still kind of
local
included.
locals there and like Memphis Pizza Cafe. It's
Yeah.
like they built it all up and all this shit there, but like along there are just so many good bars where like you can just start at
They're,
like
like,
one end
all
of
lined up.
Madison
And
and
really
at about 4 a.m. You're at the other end and you're like, where the fuck am I?
To me, that is what makes a big city, or that's how you start getting into a big city or a good city, is when you have multiple areas that people can go to, and it's not just like, well, this is our downtown.
Yeah.
Because that's how old cities were meant. Like I'm from a really small town. It's called Aniana, Alabama. 6,000 people is the population, or at least it was, but it's grown. But anyways, there's a downtown, and like that's where everything is. So when you're in a big city, you want multiple downtowns where like people can spread out and like, oh, you need to go this place. Like you don't want to know where everything is, because that means that you've just, I've explored everything. I'm done with this city. Yeah, there's no mystery. So yeah, I like that. I like that there's multiple areas that you can go to. So I'm still experiencing everything. Like I haven't been everywhere. So
I agree. I think it's kind of small. You know, like I know, like I just recently went to see my parents. Like they just moved to Atlanta, and
yeah.
I just went to go see them. And that dude, man, it's just such a cool city.
Yeah.
Like it's just so many places. Like when you're just driving through to go to. Like we went to, it was cool, like just looking out the window to see the places we were passing on the ways to the places we were going. They took me to like all their favorite places they like to eat or whatever, and kind of showed me around their area and like this is the artsy area.
Yeah.
And like, that's cool, man. Like I like that when you're like driving around, somebody can be like, and that's where the art guys are, and that's like, here's where we all go and work out. It's like it's a little world, it's a community, and you can drive between the worlds, and like I like that. I think I like that better, like the bigger city vibe. So I feel that like the sort of Madison or downtown vibe is very limiting because it's a duality. It's just this or that,
Did you see Stone Mountain?
Stone Mountain?
Yeah.
Is that the one with the lady?
No, it's literally a ginormous stone. It's like literally a mountain that's just looks like a big rock.
Oh, okay, no.
It's kind of along the lines of Mount Rushmore. Like it's literally just this big, massive, smooth stone. Yeah, I can't. I can't even explain.
I've never seen it. I just like that Childish Gambino EP that called Stone Mountain.
Oh,
I've
really?
always wanted to see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check it out.
I think he might be from Atlanta. That's why that's why he's got that TV show Atlanta.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know if it was like he was just making a TV show about if he was from there, but yeah. Okay.
He might be from there. I don't even know.
Oh, it really does look like Mount Rushmore.
It's literally
for
just a massive stone.
Dude, it looks just like Mount Rushmore.
It looks like that mountain.
Well, it looks like Mount Rushmore on the side of like a giant smooth stone.
Yeah.
Like
you like get on it?
Yeah.
I think so. I think you can.
We got
reminds me
planes
of
now.
Yeah, I got this thing called a ladder, dumbass.
Pretty tall.
Yeah, it's massive. Like, when I was driving down the interstate and I looked over and I was like, why is that? Just such a big rock over there. But I was like, oh, that must be Stone Mountain. So
No,
Kinda
they
like
took
in
me
Arkansas,
the place I
Little
thought
Rock.
you were.
It's neither little nor a rock.
It's huge, man. No, the place I thought you were talking about was see if I have a picture of it. But they took me to this like kind of like garden, like this outside area. And I don't remember who it was, but basically this artist, she does her installations in this garden. And so like there was this one thing, like have you ever played Halo?
Yeah.
You know the Needler?
Yes.
Okay, so I love you like the Needler, don't you? I love the Needler, but she's got this one statue. I swear it looks like this cachet of massive needles. Like it's just like, and it goes like straight up. I think it's yellow, and it's in sort of a reflective pond. So the art installation is sort of you've got this piece in nature, and then it just makes it feel like an alien nature-esque kind of vibe. But then when you go to the sort of reflecting pool at the like face of it, you can see the whole thing like reflected, and it like doubles in length, and it creates this symmetry, and it like completes this full vision of the garden. And then you go to the back, and there's this waterfall with this woman like holding her hand, and the water slips through her fingers, and her hair is like bushes and flowers, and she's like carved out of rock.
Dang.
And like, dude, I'll find the picture. I will show you.
Picture.
See, the thing is, like, those like random things is what makes a city great. Like how like just Overton Park or like what's it called? Oh yeah, that's sick.
That's so pretty.
What is it?
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna text my mom. I'm gonna ask
that's
her
cool.
to find out. And here's the Needler, man. Here's the
Oh, you weren't lying.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And here's what it looks like from the reflecting pool.
That's wild.
But yeah, I'm gonna text my mom right now. We're gonna find out the name.
Yeah, those.
Don't worry, Dondi's awake.
Having those kind of things in a city is like what really brings people here. Like I was talking to a guy one time, and he was asking me pretty much the same question. Like, what do you think about the stuff in Memphis? And he was actually asking me like, do you really consider Memphis like a tourist city? And I think people here forget that. Like people literally, like my aunt literally just came here recently, just for the heck of it, just to tour Memphis. And like, I think sometimes Memphis forgets that people will literally just come here just to tour here. And so sometimes you just have to have those like random attractions. Gosh, what is that? The garden, the Botanical Garden.
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty cool place. They just recently did that. Was it the Alice in Wonderland type stuff there? So just having those things in this city will
Saw it. It was beautiful. It was great.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm
but I really
a
wanna see
member
it.
at the Botanical Garden. It's amazing.
member?
Definitely worth it. Everyone invest. Yeah, it's great.
What's the benefits of being a member?
You can just go whenever the hell you want, and like
Yeah.
if there is a special event, you get like really big discounts on the tickets and everything like that. It was a gift.
Is
but
it expensive?
I think it's not that bad. It's like $100 a year or something like
That's
that.
not bad at all.
Yeah,
You can just go to any event.
you
that
can just
they have?
go. Yeah,
It's like a
So,
family zoo package.
for some of the ones that do like really crazy shit, like it'll be like, yeah, you got to pay $20, but it's like if you're not a member, it's like it costs like 50, 60,
Dang.
For like events and stuff?
Yeah, right. Like you can go there and crash weddings. It's great. Be like congratulations.
Oh, you're
I'm
a
a
member.
member.
Never mind.
You can't kick me out.
I pay my dues. That's wild. I mean, yeah, that place is pretty dope for real. And one time I went there and somebody was having a wedding there and they were setting up. And I was like, that's pretty crazy. You just get married at a garden.
I think my parents got married there, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think they got actually married at the Botanical Gardens, which like I like that place. And they're like, yeah, we got married on this bridge. I'm like, on the bridge. I'm like, damn, that shit's way less special than I thought it would be. I'm just on a bridge right now.
Yeah. Are there some places around here that you're like most people don't know about that you go to?
I'm messing with you.
Like you might not think everybody knows about it, but nobody.
Have
knows.
you ever been like this? A ton of people know about this. So I might sound like an idiot, but like across the street from the Botanical Garden is the Dixon. Have you been there yet?
No.
It's a amazing art exhibit. Like there's just lots of history there. And like
It's called
lots
the
of like
Dixon?
the Dixon. Yeah.
Okay.
They have a really cool garden too. Not as cool as the Botanical Garden, but like that's a really cool like smaller art museum. What else? Man, that's the only place I could really think of that like
Dixon's cool, though.
because there are lots of people I know that are like, yeah, like I've been to the Botanical Gardens, I've been to the Brooks Museum of Art. And I'm like, have you been to the Dixon? They're like, no. I'm like, what? Yeah, it's really good.
I haven't even been to the Brooks. I don't even know where it is.
Oh, it's like that really old like marble museum that's like in Overton Park.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out sometime. It's cool too.
Lots
Yeah.
of people's will Lots of people take photos out there, like engagement photos or stuff like that, because it's got like a really sick like marble exterior, and like they've got like this stone bench that's like connected to the floor, whatever, something like that. It's really pretty though. And that's you hadn't been to the Brooks either, right?
No.
Okay. Do you like going to like art museums and
Yeah.
stuff?
I went to the
would say-
Metal Museum.
I like really.
That's what
Yeah.
she said.
Okay, I haven't been to the
Yeah,
Metal
no,
Museum.
sick.
You haven't been?
No.
I went to a wedding there once, and
At the Metal
At the
Museum?
Metal Museum.
they rented out the metal museum, like
Oh
that
my
courtyard
God.
It's metal
part.
as fuck.
And
Yeah.
I felt
Okay,
like
that's pretty sick.
I felt like I was in like a fairy tale, man. It was
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah, it's like always like metal sculptures and shit, and they had all
Yeah.
the lights in the trees and everything. Yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, that could be cool.
Yeah,
you
that's
gotta
actually
go.
pretty
It's pretty cool there. Yeah,
I thought you
go.
were talking about like the inside.
Oh no!
But-
That would be pretty
Yeah.
cool too. Though. Different vibe entirely.
Because it like
Having an
what
industrial
is that a
matrimony.
river right outside of it?
Yeah, it's like the Mississippi's right
The Mississippi's
there.
right outside.
Yeah.
So that is a pretty. They've got a little what do you call it? Gazebo stuff out there. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. But yeah, as I was saying, like you might think people know places.
That's true. That's true. Because I haven't been to the Metal Museum, and I haven't been to Graceland.
I've never
Yeah,
been to
I haven't
Graceland.
No
either.
one's been. It's a myth.
Graceland does not exist. Neither does Elvis.
That is not
I
Elvis's
don't
plan.
know anybody who's been. Do you? Do you know anybody who's been inside?
Actually, my wife went.
Is she telling the truth? Can you verify?
I cannot verify. She didn't take any pictures. I can't verify.
Dude, she's in
Can
on
you
it.
take
man.
pictures? Can you take pictures in Graceland?
I don't know.
This is why I love
That's why you
conspiracy
can't. They don't allow pictures. That's the problem.
So what makes you a true Memphian? You've never been to Graceland.
It's a rite of
I've heard
passage,
that
yeah.
before.
Yeah.
I've heard.
It's real. It's
you're
it's
not,
definitely
you're,
real.
you're not from Memphis if you've been to Graceland. That's
Yeah.
what I've heard. So. Well, why is that? Is it
I think
just
it's less special when you live here. You know, because it's like I would totally like if I was like in Idaho and I was like, "Whoa, it's Steven Tyler's house." I'd be like, "Oh, that's kind of cool," you know? Like, yeah, sure. But it's like at the same time, if you're from Idaho and that's like your bread and butter,
yeah?
you probably don't really care about that. You know, it's like $50 you don't need to spend. It's
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So, and I'm very sure that Graceland costs more than $50.
And also maybe just because you know it's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's got that.
always-
you can go when
permanence,
you
yeah.
want to. So you don't have to like, oh man, I gotta go. It's like
Yeah.
it's gonna be there.
Oh
Yeah, there's that too. Because
Should be
like,
like-
I crossed that crux of wanting to go when I was younger, and I got into like Elvis and all that old like rockabilly phase, and then now it just feels like, man, I don't know if I want to go, man. Like I don't know, like
Taylor, you had a rockabilly phase?
little
So you're wearing
rockabilly
like a
phase.
leather jacket and spats?
I was
like
going
smoking
around-
your back and shit?
It's a very dark time.
1952. Me and my leather jacket.
I'm picturing you
Cigarette.
when you're 12,
True
bro.
story.
That is hilarious. and I've heard a lot of people like from this area, just they don't really care about the Memphis, the Elvis storyline, stuff like that. So I did hear that movie was really good. Have y'all seen the movie?
I haven't.
I watched reviews.
I've heard,
and it
I
looks
have
good,
heard
but-
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard it's awesome.
So apparently his manager was like a douche, and
Yeah.
so he, from what I heard, somebody was telling me about the movie. Sorry, spoiler alert, but spoiler, and I haven't even seen the movie. But they said that like he was like super illegal, like he couldn't go out of the country.
He's from Germany, right?
I don't know,
Okay.
but
I think
they were.
so,
I
yeah.
thought he was from the country with all the windmills and shit.
Now, is that not Germany? Do they not have windmills?
I don't know. Like, you know, they wear like wood. Like,
Sure.
I don't know. Never mind. I'm not gonna
I don't
do
think we
this.
should list like what we would associate with Germany to get back to windmills.
Calling you out,
At
Germany.
the same
You gotta
time,
get on that windmill game.
they might have been into wind energy at some point. That's not crazy to say.
But he was saying that like the guy couldn't leave the country because I don't know like what reasons why, but he was saying that that's why Elvis didn't do any shows outside the country. It's because his manager couldn't leave with him. So he's like, well, you're not going. I can't go. You can't go. So, and like Elvis was huge. I think it was with like Japan or something like that. And you think how big Elvis would have been if he had toured all over the world.
Yeah.
We think he's huge now. He would have been massive back in the day.
But at the same time, if you angle it right, it can be an advantage. Like the same thing as Tool never put out anything on on downloadable music platforms up until like a couple of years ago. So everyone was like, "Oh,
They couldn't
got to
wait
go
for
to the
it.
record store to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to Tool. These things are exclusive." So I imagine like Elvis records must have been kind of solid gold in other countries
yeah.
because of that.
Oh, yeah.
But it makes a mythos of it.
Yeah. It's hard to come by.
So it makes a whole mythos of Elvis, but I also still wonder.
still don't have the internet,
We'll
though.
never actually know what Elvis's like numbers would have been
Yeah.
had he actually gone to those places. So
Yeah.
Internet Elvis numbers would have been way up.
Oh, God.
oh yeah, they're gonna bump those numbers up. They're rookie numbers.
I mean, people like Michael Jackson right now still have great numbers. So, like, imagine them at the height of things. I always talk about Soulja Boy. If Soulja Boy had, like, came out now with, like, TikTok, he would have destroyed TikTok.
Oh, dude. Oh,
And-
I've zeroed down my mind. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
I do think about, like, the different, like, certain bands or just artists who didn't get a chance to be in this, like, internet age. Like, it's crazy the advantage that we have now, but also the disadvantage, right? So y'all are a band. So let's go the broadest category. Y'all are a band. So you are competing with all other bands that exist. And, you know, then you kind of get down into your niche, like, you know, the genre, subgenre, stuff like that. But like, it's hard. Like, music business is hard. Like, you're competing with literally the world of music because they have the world of music, right? Like you were talking about Elvis's collection of music, and you know it was basically gold in other countries because you had the physical sale, right? That's the only way you could listen to Elvis. Well, nowadays anybody can listen to anybody at any time frame, so it's that leveled up the competition.
Also made ticket prices for live performances go woo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it's so expensive now.
I think that
I saw that thing that was talking about old bands in like the 70s. It was like $5. Check out, you know, it's like some huge band. I don't even remember who it was or what the context was, but it was something like, you know, obviously inflation too, but like even with inflation, they were like, this doesn't, this don't make sense.
I think that the whole like virtual concerts, have y'all done? First of all, have you done that?
We're really interested. So like, I know Louise Page. We were talking about her a second ago. I know she's trying to get one started. She made a post recently where she's saying like she's looking at kind of shifting into that to kind of just mainly be considerate of, you know, people who don't want to like, you know, get COVID or can't afford to get COVID. So like I know she's trying to get a bunch of acts together for that and get something rolling. It's like I think it's going to be a virtual show. You'd have to ask her, but I'm pretty sure she's getting something rolling with that. But that's like the only one I've heard of.
Okay.
We've like toyed with the idea, but we ended up putting our money more towards recording instead of like live performances because we'd been gigging. So it was like, should probably just record, you know, and just master that first and then get out to broadcasting. And I think the big trouble with it for other musicians is also like, it's a real hassle to get all that equipment running and just get it right to where it's like live streaming, it's in real time, and then also the sound is really hard to get right. We've played with like the Stupid Reasons in their backyard, and they've got a live setup that they do that they stream live.
The Stupid Reasons?
Yeah, that's the name. Have you
It's a
met
band?
them or heard of them yet? Right. All right. So man, let me turn you on. this band, we're friends with them, but they actually just came out with their album, and let me pull this up real fast. But Gus,
Shout out to Gus.
shout out to Gus.
Everyone loves Gus.
Everyone loves Gus. And yeah, we were just at one of their shows. I just typed Gus in here. I went Gus mode. But we were at one of their shows recently. With it was them and Spacer. So shout out to Cheyenne Mars. He asked me to say that.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Sure.
And but anyway, their newest album Petunias just came out, and that is a awesome song. I really love the mix on that one. I would check that out. But this is their Spotify page.
Okay. And they're local, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what
They do
Taylor
shows in
is
their
forgetting
backyard.
is we completely played a virtual show before.
Yeah,
that
we
you're
did.
forgetting about.
Yeah,
at
at
Growlers.
Growlers.
Steve.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
but let me.
wait,
It was
we did
the
too.
early. So this was like
Stupid
when
Reasons
people
there.
were still trying to figure out how to do it. And let me tell you how weird it is playing at Growlers to nobody. Like on the stage, playing to absolutely no one.
So did you
It's a very
book
weird
out
feeling.
the venue?
Yes.
So you booked the venue,
Yeah,
and then you're like, "Hey, we're doing a virtual show." That's it.
Yeah, we were just live streaming.
much,
Like we had what was that guy? Anon the Mouse.
Yeah.
That guy. He was cool. He was
Yeah.
good.
We had Anon the Mouse and the Stupid Reasons open for us.
Yeah.
And that was at the
In the
start.
virtual show.
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy.
So it's a full show. It was called the New World Show, and that's like the name of our album that we're working on.
Okay.
It's gonna be the New World, and so like it was supposed to be the sort of break off into that sort of thing, but it was at the start of COVID, so no one was around. No one wanted to get out, and if they did, we really didn't want to like encourage that at the time, especially because we didn't have like vaccines or boosters at all. So what we did was we made sure that no one would be in the venue. Everyone like had masks and stuff when we were setting up. We just took them off to like sing or perform, and then basically we wanted to stream that for everybody and just kind of create the vibe. So we bought like a bunch of balloons. I had this like pink fur coat. Sometimes I wear when I want to like hype something up. Just, that helps. And then we just like basically played to a big empty room and kicked balloons around and just woo.
I kept telling me it looked
It's
like
a great time in here, baby. Nothing but fun. Ain't looking back, And you just sell that, and then you just like it's the best you can do. It's kind of because it's awkward when you're on the internet. Like it's hard to really get that energy through. So like that, my suggestion would be fur and balloons. That's the best I've come up with.
Sure.
Jackson. That's all I got.
That time frame was so strange because a lot of people, they literally just didn't know what to do, and fair enough, nobody did. Like we hadn't experienced something like that in this day and age with the technology that we have. People were like, "No, I'm okay. I can do this," and some people were like, "No, you can't." And we're like, "All right, what are we doing right now?" So, like the music scene hit tremendously with touring and concerts, but you can still record at home. That's what a lot of people did, and a lot of people tried to figure out recording at home. Sweetwater and Guitar Center sales went up like crazy with home recording equipment. And engineers just had to figure out, how can I mix this horrible recording that these people recorded at home? So, that was a very, very strange time frame that I think a lot of people tried to figure new things out. Like they were trying to figure out like, how can I still make money from the stuff that I was doing, but yet it's, we had to compromise. Like, with a virtual concert, maybe you didn't have the best cameras, maybe you didn't have the best audio, but you were still trying to grasp that same, get the audience engaged with, not as great quality that you were able to pump out previously. So yeah, it was just a crazy time in general.
In a way, it's cool too, though, because you got like so much different stuff that's like coming out now. Like I kind of like it. It's a competitive push, and it's also an inspiring push. Because you've got just this flux of people that's like, I need to create. Like, either from an existential point or from the point of they've got all this time, or, it just kind of put life on pause, and everybody had a moment to kind of go, why am I here? Like, what am I doing? And I don't want to, like, turn it into a good thing. Like, COVID's bad, but, like, I will say one of the cool things to see is like the humanity that's come out of it. It's like really cool to see people suddenly go, that's what I want. That's important to me. Like I want to make that my reality. I want to make that happen. Like watching people seize their own success around us in the music industry. They were like, I'm going to make my TikToks. I'm going to do my thing. Like that is awesome. Like you see him running like an athlete, just all those muscles at once. It's a cool thing to watch. Doing it for the love of doing it. Like, and I feel like in a weird way, COVID did a reality check for a lot of people and brought that out. It's a bit bitter, but it's like a bittersweet kind of after effect of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see it that way, but that's kind of what I see. It's like it's not quite the way it was, but I feel like we're building up to something really cool.
Yeah, it busted the clique system in Memphis wide open as far as like music scenes, where it was all very sectarian before the pandemic. The ones who are still wanting to do it, now we kind of have to work together, and it's actually basically I saw people collaborate that I never would have thought before the pandemic would collaborate, and they do it really well. Everyone's just gotten a lot more polite and a lot more just understanding of each other.
And you
want to
be a part of that. Like, that's, like, awesome. Like, you know what I mean? It's like when you were a little kid and you played with your Star Wars toys and, like, you had the one Frodo Baggins, it was cool to watch him fight Darth Vader. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what people want to see. They want to see this country guy and this rock and roll guy and go, hey, you ever tried a Miller Lite? I know I should do. Like, that's more interesting than, hello, we play sad, dark music. It's so mundane that way. So, like, I like the caricature of characters where everybody's, like, got a different hat on and, like, you know. That's cool to see.
Yeah. I do feel like, I don't want to say we evolved as humans, but, like, we definitely got pushed forward during COVID. Like, even tech companies, like, they had to figure out stuff. Like, right now, we're still in a chip shortage. For some dumb reason, every company decided to let Taiwan make all of our chips. And so now Taiwan has all control over, like, the amount of cars that we have, computers, and everything.
And it's profitable to withhold.
Yeah. So the crazy thing is we were able to figure stuff out. Like, people who never had to use Skype or Microsoft Teams and stuff like that, like all the corporate companies. Now people are working from home and having to figure out this new technology that they never had to use before. But that was a great thing. Like, you've got all these people who are probably 50 and older who never had to use these things. Even myself, like, I've never been a Zoom or type person, but I started using that. I think it was around pandemic time. I started, I've had this podcast since 2019, in person, just inviting people here. But I started a virtual podcast. I want to say it was in 2020. It was either that or 2021, with Zoom. And so that really helped me learn how to use, like, virtual stuff. And I think it's a great thing that we continue to do it. You know, continue, as you said, Luis is starting to think about doing virtual stuff. It's great that we are still choosing to use a virtual avenue, even though it's not necessary. Like, we don't have to do that. You can still do an in-person concert, but it's like, well, I still got this other source of revenue that I could use to bring in an audience, to bring in new fans. So we're on our way. It's, you know, humans have been here for a long time. We still haven't figured everything out. So
the one thing we know is when we do work together and when we do sort of set unrealistic expectations, but we do go at it, great things can happen.
Oh, yeah.
I think, like, I've seen a lot of people just do such cool things. Like, speaking of Louise, like, one of the coolest things I ever saw her do, she made this post. I forget, it may have been a few years back, but she kind of, like, talked about her journey into going into just music. Like, getting out of her, like, normal day job and moving that to her primary, like, this is how I provide for myself. And just the kind of, like just the switch over into that of, like, you know, that's what I want to be, and now I'm doing it. And, like, I'm still not there, but that is, like, such a cool thing to do. And I feel like that's the goal, obviously, for everybody, is it's, like, a bit of an internal and external struggle to just break through that. And everybody's situation is different. But I thought that was, like, really cool. And I feel like that's the main thing that people have been doing, especially in the pandemics. They've really been just seizing the day. Like, the stupid reasons they make so many cool music videos, like, that's the big thing we're working on now, is we're trying to get, with the release of these songs, and once we start rolling all of this out, we want to actually have, like, videos and start, you know, getting a more visual presence out instead of just about the music. Now that we're done focusing on that, kind of blossom out.
Yeah.
But
social media has done that to people. It's like, if you don't exist visually to people, it's like they don't even think you exist. So.
And videos only cost money. You don't make money on a music video. You make something that's really cool, and you make it to where it's like a bit of your soul, and it is, like, representative of the song, but like very expensive. If you want to do them right, they're very expensive.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know that some artists, they do well with the visual content, and some artists just don't do well. We can't all be the gorillas, right? Like, we're just hiring cartoons to just do all of our bidding for us. And, you know, have y'all actually even seen the Gorillas? I've never seen them.
I love that band. They're one of my favorite bands.
Have you physically seen anybody from the band?
No, I saw them at, I think they played, what's that fest? Lollapalooza?
I thought it was like one guy.
Yeah, I thought it was
No,
one
it's a
guy.
band.
Oh.
Like every
I-
character
honestly, I
is
thought it was a
representative of
From
like,
a real
a
person.
person. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did not
and
know
they're
that.
all I don't know too much about them. I'm just a huge fan of their music.
thought it
But
was
yeah,
Brendan
their
Small
show
and
is
Death
put
Clock
on
situation.
by like these like characters that are either
Yeah,
like
yeah.
projected on stage or like, and you can see them like.
Wait a minute, their shows are the characters?
The one I saw, yeah, like
It's not the real
yeah, no, like the band is there. The band is
okay.
there playing, and you can like they have them behind like a screen, and you can see them doing their thing, but you never see them.
Dang.
Yeah, no, like it
That's
was cool.
crazy.
Yeah, I remember I saw them. I'm pretty sure it was Lollapalooza. I might be mistaken on the location, but it was incredible. It was
That's
really
crazy.
cool.
Don't
Yeah.
I could play out in front one time?
I think they've all revealed their identities by now, and I
Okay.
know the lead singer guy has, but it's like there was always that rumor about like the reason they did it is because they're all like a bunch of like old dudes, and they were like they wanted to show that like old people could make cool music. But this might just be me putting a conspiracy theory out there onto the internet right now, but that's what I've heard, you know. So that could be completely wrong. Please feel free to tell me I'm wrong.
That's pretty crazy.
Way more details than I've got.
All right, yeah.
I know
but-
Clint Eastwood. I know the like Feel Good Inc. era and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all that stuff. And that one video that came out.
Dude, their
What's the
newest
name?
shit's awesome.
Is that the
Yeah,
one where
it's
it's like
so
it's
good,
like
dude.
the
Yeah,
the
Vince
girl like
Staples on there.
skating and stuff? It's like
I haven't seen that one.
I don't know what that video is.
Well, they
Can't
were on
remember the
MTV
though.
Cribs, and it was the lead. I mean, but it was the cartoons. The entire MTV Cribs was just the cartoons. And
is
then
so awesome.
the lead character was touring the house where everybody, and like all the characters were in the house. They had like some ridiculous looking house too. It was, I mean, it was all cartoons. So they just created this digital house that they made, and I was like, this is hilarious.
That's super cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, they're killing it, and we don't even know what they look like.
I really think like that shit is going to be the future, especially of like celebrity or
Yeah.
people taking on those completely digital identities, like
Yeah,
all those like Twitch.
NFTs.
Yeah, exactly. Like owning representative digital property, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there are these like people on Twitch that stream, and like there's this technology now that like turns them into an anime character, so you never even see their real face, and they're just streaming as like some like anime boy or some anime girl.
Dang.
You know, and those are getting wildly popular. You know,
People
like
be people in public.
yeah, exactly. And so I'm like, this is where shit's really gonna go, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to celebrity and like as like the popularity of people getting more and more obsessed with celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like it might just straight up become a security issue. You know, you're like, I don't want people to know what I look like. Like I'd make all this cool stuff and do all this cool stuff and like get paid all this money. Like you don't even know what I'll actually look like.
Yeah.
Like I want to go out and I want to go be able to buy groceries.
Yeah.
You know, like so. I mean, I just think that's like one direction things are headed. I think it would be cool if we all became cartoons,
Faceless.
though, guys.
Yeah, we
let's
should
do it.
Just
Let's do
become
it. I'm
faceless
totally down.
cartoons.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We should dissolve the band right now, go into Wit Pro, and then just start a new project, same music, but just different
I'm
names.
Shout out
gotta
to the
move to
Blue Man
Kentucky.
Group.
There's some famous like Japanese character, and it's like a female character, but you know what I'm talking about?
I can't remember that, but I know.
I think gosh, what
Vocaloid.
is that it?
I think so.
Is it Miku or something?
Miku, yeah, I think that's the
one with
name
the
of
pedal?
her. Yeah, with the guitar. Yeah,
But like, isn't she a hologram?
yeah, she's just straight up.
So
hologram.
like performs as a hologram.
Oh yeah, they do those mesh holograms for her. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
It looks
those mesh
sick.
holograms are sick, dude.
Super
Yeah.
sick. And I'm just like, yo, anybody could do that. Well, I mean, not anybody could do that, but like they could create, if whoever you are can create music and then get somebody to make a hologram for you, and then that's the superstar. And I actually went to the Music Business Association conference in Nashville, and they were talking about what do we do about this? Because like when you have publishing in music and copyrights, who is this going to? Because computers can now make music without a human. You just, hey, make me a song. They can make you a song with composition and lyrics, and use a voice from anybody. Like you can take Elvis's voice, computer generate it, and create a song out of it. And they've been doing it and like comparing it. I don't know if it was like with Aerosmith or some big band, and they were like, man, this sounds really similar to the actual band. In the future is going to get really strange as far as like if we start doing that and creating digital bands, who's making the money off? Is it the person who created the software? Is it the person who created the band? This fictitious band? Like, how does that work?
Are we going to see counterfeit bands that are designed
AI
to
Exactly.
is
soak
going to
up
become billionaires
followers?
and rule the world.
Dude,
Just
music
AI.
piracy is going to get even weirder because you're like, oh yeah, I made a copy of the Aerosmith AI band.
Yeah.
and they can just play live for you in your living room.
Exactly.
And it's free.
So, where do we go from there?
And wedding bands are going to lose all their business. I feel so bad for the wedding band guys. Dang.
Band
Robots
similar
be a
to
wedding band, by the way,
Aerosmith. Yeah, that junk is like, I'm really fascinated in AI as far as like, I don't know if you've been dealing with, or both of y'all, as far as like recording and mixing wise, the isotope, like all the isotope stuff.
Yeah, they have a lot of really interesting plugins
Yeah,
and stuff.
like, I mean, they're borderline allowing you to master just by a click of a button because it just analyzes your song. Like you just, hey, analyze my song. Analyze, all right, these are the highest and lowest parts. We think this dynamic range is good for you. This is how it should be EQ'd. This is the lufts that it should be. And then boom, it just masters the song for you. So Isotope and other companies like that are going to make it weird and strange are the best words I can come up with.
Do you know the name of that plugin and where I can get it? Because that sounds
It's
awesome.
Ozone. It's Ozone.
Let's say, because the last one I used Ozone 3, but they have to be on like some way.
They're on 10 just came out, I think.
Oh my god, that's so cool. Though.
I think 10 just came out.
But I mean, I think honestly, when it comes down to it, like automating mixing and mastering is totally different to like automating the writing and composition of a song, though.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to that stuff, I say more power to them because like as someone who sucks at mixing and mastering, if I can make a song that sounds okay and then put it through there and it sounds twice as good just automatically, I don't think there's any like negative side effect to that. Me personally, like more power to them.
And it's not going to hurt anybody that knows how to mix, you know? Like, if the very least, it could help you if you're just like, if you want to mix something up or get a general idea, like, you know, like, no, I don't like the whole, like, when technology advances and people are like, it takes the soul out of it. Because it's like, not really, because it's you put the soul in it. You know what I mean?
Component to play
it's like,
with.
I could strum an E chord and go, that's all it does. You know what I mean? Like, you can make anything inspiring or uninspiring, but it's like, you know, I like the sort of new age of AI and like all that stuff because it's another companion for you to like deal with and mess with and create with, you know?
Yeah, and it's going to create another layer to the kind of evolution of, or really the cycle of how we listen and perceive music, just because like we're going to go through a phase of, look, the computer says this. There is an objective way. This is the one way to mix this. And then everyone's going to get very bored with that.
Yeah.
They're going to try and break that standard operating procedure at any cost.
Yeah.
And then it'll circle around again.
I mean, I love the fact that, like, so as I said, I listen to Bobby Osinski podcast all the time, and he's probably in, like, his late 60s or 70s. But, you know, he mixed some of the, like, the greatest bands of all time. And he'll talk about how he hated the sound of tape. And it's crazy because we have all these plugins to emulate the sound of tape.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
And he talks about it all the time. He's like, I don't know why they keep making these plugins to emulate tape because I hated the sound of tape. And the fact that we're trying to go back and emulate that sound.
Lower
just
the fidelity, essentially.
Yeah, he's like, this just blows my mind that we're trying to go back to something. That would be like, well, we have done this, made movies in like black and white and stuff like that, which makes great movies. What was it, like Sin City? Y'all remember that movie? It was like black and white. So I mean, we've done things to go back to old. I mean, thinking about Stranger Things, you know, that everything's, was it the 70s or 80s that TV show is put in?
80s, I think.
But like, old is great sometimes because it gives like this vintage feel to it, but a lot of times it's like, yo, what are we doing? We're in 2022. Like, use the technology that we have. So I don't know. Music creativity cannot be replaced like with AI. But we have to realize the technology. The real advantage of it is it makes what we do faster. It's not so much of it's better. It's just faster. Like being able to use Ozone and just hit a button just gets you to where you were already going faster. like a Tesla. It's just getting you where you were already going in your Honda Civic, just faster. So that's how we really need to really just look at it, in my opinion.
Have you ever heard that like phrase about the I think it was Edison or something talking about the light bulb, which he didn't invent, but that's a separate story.
Yeah.
I don't want to get sidetracked into Edison. I could go for days, but
Douchebag.
total douche.
Edison sucks.
Yeah, I got the shirt. And basically, he was saying like it took whatever it was, like 1,000 million, whatever it is. It's like 1,000 tries, but it took 1,000 tries of like learning how to not make a light bulb to learn how to do it right. I feel like with AI, you get to at least the 690th version first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same process, but you got to understand what we put into artificial intelligence is what we understand about basic patterns.
Mm-hmm.
So you're plugging in like an equation or something that basically knows how to circle in on results or run hypothetical simulations to get a general idea like, I'll knock that bottle over. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all it's really at play there. It's based off of our knowledge or our experiences, and then it's running that exponentially.
Yeah.
And that's how it makes its decisions, kind of thing. But I feel like that you're absolutely right. It makes things faster because you're not like doing the work yourself. You're not like, oh, that didn't work. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's probably his, sir. Thanks. You know. Like, you seen Iron Man?
Yeah.
He's got a Jarvis.
Yeah, that's it. That's really it.
You know what the music industry needs AI-wise? Not mixing, not mastering, not writing songs. A manager. A band manager. That's an AI.
An AI manager.
Watch that become illegal like that. The second they're like, it's like...
So I could see, check this out. I could see if you are a band, so if you have an Instagram profile and you mark that you are a band or an artist, they could... Instagram, I'm putting this out there, or Facebook, Meta. Dang, I had to go through all those. Meta. Great idea. You buy Hootsuite and all these other apps that help you post stuff. And if you're an artist and you have like an artist profile, you allow Hootsuite and other platforms and apps tell you what to post and when to post. That would be your manager. That would be like your artificial manager.
That would be sick. I would love that.
Because that's what Hootsuite and there's some other apps. There's an app called like Time to Post, but they literally just like you input. I think you make a few posts and then it analyzes your post and it analyzes like how many people saw your post, how many people interacted with your post, when your followers are online. And then it tells you like, oh, you should post at this time. So if they did that and integrated that with like an artist profile, that would be your artificial manager. Is basically telling you when to post and what to post. That would be great.
That would be, wait, so this doesn't exist?
This does not exist.
Oh my god, I was sold. I was seriously going to be like,
we gotta find it.
I was going to be like, Taylor,
We just gotta get it.
Now those apps that tell you when to post exist, but it is not integrated into Instagram
all the
yet.
other stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Suite and everything
If it was
like that,
integrated, that would be your artificial manager right there.
Yeah. Man, I need to make that.
Yeah, right? Let's get on that.
Yeah.
Hey, just for fun, you should program an artificial manager that turns evil to get one that acts just like the colonels.
Oh, crap.
Takes all your money.
It worked for Elvis.
Hey, can I?
This program's here to teach you a lesson.
Are you better than
buy
Elvis?
Can I get $100?
You want to be as famous as Elvis?
Are you too good for
Turn on
Elvis
Colonel.
fame? Activate Colonel.
He'll book all the shows. He's like, can I get $100 for clothes? I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Even
I'm
like,
sorry.
have you ever heard of Bands in Town? It's a website, Bands in Town.
Yeah.
I mean, even something like that could tell you like when and where to book a show. If they had some sort of automation for that, it would be like, all right, there's going to be a certain amount of people in this area, this time frame, book a show at this time. That would be super simple. I mean, I'm just throwing these ideas out there for anybody who wants to make this stuff, but yeah.
It definitely won't be us.
Yeah, it's not coming from, but the ideas are coming from.
Yeah, these are golden ideas.
Yeah.
These are golden ideas, like, because that's a need. That's totally a need.
Yeah. And even like the dolls are starting to become great. Like as I was telling you about Luna, it's got something that's really cool. It's got a console aspect to it. So basically, if you wanted the sound of a Neve or an API console, it's got
Preamp emulators.
it's got emulators for just literally the meters for Neve. So all your trimming and everything makes it emulate as if you were mixing through a Neve or API board. And no other DAW can do that except Luna because Universal Audio owns like the copyrights to all those plugins and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah. That kind of stuff is completely changing the game to older engineers who are used to mixing with like outboard gear, like physically turning knobs and stuff. Now you've got all this. They call it in the box. You're mixing in the box. So
That's all I've ever done, dude. I've recorded in studios before, and they gave me shit because like I was like the guy recording the band, like it was like some real DIY shit.
Yeah.
And we did everything in the box, and they were like, "Why aren't you using this board? Why aren't you using this?" I'm like, "Oh,
for what?"
Yeah, I'm like, "Doing what, dude?" So I can like be like, "Yeah," I'm like, I turn that shit up. Yeah, like I don't care. It sounds just as good. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I understand running through, like, outboard effects and stuff like that, obviously. Like, especially, like, I'm a big fan of, like, outboard guitar pedals and stuff and just running digital sounds through those.
Yeah.
But, I mean, besides that, that's only outboard gear I'd ever use, really. Because, I mean, like you said, those emulators now, like, there's one in Ableton, like, the latest version of Ableton that's just nuts. Like, it sounds better than a lot of the outboard gear stuff, especially the older models. Like, what are you saying, the API?
Yeah.
The big thing, right?
Yeah.
When it has those like meters up top. Yeah. So like, I think it competes with those. I mean, I'm like, there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me and call me an idiot. I might be, but like, that's my opinion.
I've heard some of the best, some of the best engineers. They have said that plug-in emulations are getting really close to the analog gear. And then also heard on the podcast, Bobby Osinski, they were talking about how the younger age group who makes music, it's irrelevant. Like, who cares what an LA2A sounds like? Who cares what a Pultec EQ sounds like? Because they didn't grow up listening to that. So it doesn't matter.
If anything, it's an impurity to them.
The emulation is pointless. Just give me an EQ I can use.
I had that thought the other day. You have that thought as you get older, and I was thinking. I was pondering.
Not very
We're getting
hard.
better at this.
It's a give and take.
Teamwork.
I was thinking about this though, like what you're saying, like literally like the things that we would think of like even as a songwriter, like because that's like the perspective I was thinking of. I was like trying to like, man, I really want to make a song kind of does this bit, and then I was like, I feel like in a way that sort of becomes the sort of pattern, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's kind of I guess the one thing to be aware of is like as technology changes, like what you want to recreate, for example, the next audience that might hear that might not have the same like reference. So like what made that snare so good, maybe the rest of the mix was bad. And so then you're like, you notice the snare, you know what I'm saying? Snare, baby, like, and it maybe the kick's really good, and that's what made the song good for you. And so you associate like that tape, that lo-fi, or like, I like some lo-fi stuff. It's really just what the vibe is for me. But I will say, like, I think that for sure, if you don't have a reason to recreate that, or you don't have like a basis of like why you should like that, it may not be tasteful. Okay, so one I hate all of Phil Collins' drum sounds. They sound so lame. And this is like academically wrong what I'm saying right now. Like this is like this changed music what he did with drums, but I didn't like it. So that's like it's all about preference, but at the same time, I because of that there's like a group of like 80s drum sound that's like but like Queen was great. I like Queen's drum sound was awesome. Michael Jackson, we talked about him earlier. Dude, Michael Jackson. I looked him up earlier. He's got like 60-something million streams right now.
Oh, really?
Monthly on Spotify. Upwards of 60 million
That's
monthly listeners.
That's so crazy.
Made good beats, man. Billie Jean's a bot. I listen to Thriller every Halloween, dude. Like
everybody does, and that's so crazy.
We're part of that 60 million 1 month out of the year, man.
Yeah. But as you were saying, like literally, so if somebody's like, man, that snare doesn't sound like a 70s snare, we need to change it. It's like, who cares? Like, people who are like, I've been working with Sun Person, this 17-year-old kid who is great at music in this area, but like talking to him about stuff, I'm like, this is so weird. Like, you're 17 and you're the big thing he's been doing is like hyperpop. You know, that's like this genre.
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
hyperpop
Oh
is?
yeah, obsessed with it. It's awesome.
He told me about hyperpop. I'd never even heard of it. And then I'm like, this actually sounds like older music. It just sounds like the dubstep version of like older electronic music. That's all this sounds like. So his generation thinks they invented this genre when really they just reinvented an older genre. In my opinion, that's how I feel about it. So it's crazy how the younger people are, they don't understand that what they're using was already there, but they don't care because that's not what they're used to. Like, older people are like, oh, that's just something, like, you know, y'all just doing something we already did, but like they don't care because they're not used to it. So it's great for music, though, in my opinion.
I'm making a prediction right now. I feel like doo-wop is gonna come back in a really big way. Yeah, like that, like all that shit. Yeah, that's gonna get redone.
coming
soon.
back.
You know, like the whole hyperpop.
Has somebody-
Doo-wop's next.
Get ready.
After that,
going
second
back.
line music. I don't know.
Has somebody
But
been
yeah.
doing it?
Huh?
Has somebody recently been doing it, or you're just making a
Bruin.
random guess?
No, there's
I kind of feel like there has been.
Oh God,
actually.
what's that guy's name?
You don't know a doo-wop group.
I know
got
a
it.
guy
You're making this
who,
up.
Yeah,
no,
the
I know
microphones
it's
guy.
not a doo-wop group.
It's a
Oh, it's gonna
one-man
bother the
doo-wop?
shit
It's a
out of me.
one-man
Yes,
doo-wop?
yes, it is.
It's one guy. A bebop.
You're the one, or no? Who? What is his name? The guy that does all the microtones.
Oh, Jacob Collier. Jacob Collier
Is that who
is
you're
a
thinking of?
one-man doo-wop group, I guess.
Oh wow. Well, yeah.
You didn't think of him, though. You didn't think of him. That's not your point. You don't get that.
Oh,
You didn't know who he was.
I have no idea who that
Yeah,
is.
that doesn't count.
Damn,
was
it's
the guy
gonna
you
come
were
back to
thinking
me. He's from, like, he plays down in Oxford. He's really good. I can't remember.
You're making this up.
I'm not. He's really good. Man, it's gonna bother me. Hold on, let me get on my phone. Give me a second.
Watch it be Jacob Collier.
Please carry on.
But yeah, what we've got rolling up is basically like that New World show I was telling you about. It was kind of like the kickoff start of the pandemic, uncertain, faceless journey of what comes next. So that's that big album we're working on. It's going to be called The New World. And our goal with that is really to like incorporate other Memphis musicians. I know I was talking with Tyler Mayberry. I don't know if you know him, but he plays in a few bands around here. Grand Theft Autumn. What's his other group that he plays with?
Soul Smasher, Dream Crusher.
No,
no,
that's
I forgot.
Tyler's group.
good
Yeah.
God.
You got that all wrong.
What a name.
It's
That is
Dream,
a-
it's
that's
Dream
good band, that's
Crusher,
good band.
Dream Crusher, Hope
Yeah.
Smasher. But yeah, although I did talk to Tyler. Tyler might actually come and play as Telly on some stuff.
Dude, that is
Okay, yeah.
such
Yeah.
a gnarly name.
Wrong Tyler. there, Sorry.
Oh crap! Yeah, two Tylers. There's two Tylers in
Yeah.
the room. Oh snap! All right. Well, the other Tyler's a bass player, and I was gonna let him play because I play bass for us. So I was gonna let him like do the bass, just completely different sound, and just kind of see what we got there. But this could all flop. It's just kind of an idea of like, let's
Yeah.
just get everybody together and see if the vibe carries through, you know. But that's like that's the thing that's like I guess we're building towards. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. You were given some stuff what y'all doing, but can you elaborate a little bit more? What you got coming out? You said you've got a song
In 6 days.
6 days.
The song will be called "Going Away," and it's going to be coming out on the 26th. Is that a Saturday or Friday?
It's a Friday.
It's a Friday.
Friday.
So it's going to be coming out on a Friday on the 26th. That's John's song "Going Away," and then from there we'll have an EP coming out either late November or early December. We're mostly looking at a venue right now to confirm. We have the EP ready, but we're just waiting to confirm because we want the release to be on like the day that we perform.
Yeah.
Just to make it a little more special, but you know, also looking at COVID, trying to stay like flexible on numbers and that because Memphis is a
Yeah.
shifty city, so you never know.
How everybody can reach y'all, emails, websites, Instagrams, Twitters, whatever. Just go ahead.
Yeah, you can message us on Instagram or Facebook if you follow us there. We are on Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, every streaming thing out there, whatever you use. Just look up "Flirting with Sincerity" and we'll be there. And YouTube too. It's free on YouTube. And yeah, that's basically what we've got rolling out now. Email would be flirtingwithsincerity@yahoo. If you have any interesting endeavors, let us know.
We're always looking for up.
Always looking for op.
Awesome. We miss anything? You got anything else? That's it?
That guy's name was Dent May.
Dent
Back to the
May.
doo-wop discussion. That was it. Yeah.
And the garden I was telling you about in Atlanta, Botanical Gardens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's quite simple. My mom just texted me. But thanks for having us on, man. This was so
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, it was
Awesome.
great having you
Yeah.
on for sure. Alrighty. Well, thank you for everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.